I'm Erzë Dinarama. I'm an architect, interdisciplinary designer and researcher, and I'm here at OGR, who is the residency host for the STARTS project oriented towards water bodies. OGR was very important in establishing relationships with territorial actors with which I worked on to actually conduct the research on the Po River and the fragility of drought. Part of the work that we did together was finding out who these actors that are important for this renegotiation are. We worked together with ecologists, activists, policymakers that are also somehow involved in the technology around the measuring and the infrastructure that is around drought. We started speaking initially with ecologists at the University of Torino, Francesca Bona and Elisa, that are working with very small species that are very fragile. Then together with them, through this somehow snowball effect, we found also other actors. A group that I worked with that became a very important part of the work is Rete Fiumi, who are working on a very interesting process, let's say. They look at these moments of drought from the perspective of the living entities inside the river itself, and they take these some of the fish that they deem important, but also that they think are important for the public, and they relocate it in places where they think that there will be no drought. Other groups that I worked with that we found together with OGR that are somehow active in the territories, also ARPA, that actually records drought, and it was important how they do this in the territory also as an in-between, let's say, actor of the people that are working on the ground and the policy makers themselves. And then we worked a bit with Orti Generali that are actually working with new ways to think of water management, especially in terms of the crops and in terms of food practices that are involved in, let's say, the areas around the river. I also worked with Viso a Viso in Ostana, that is a community cooperation. They have a very interesting library where they also have information on hydrology and on the Po River basin itself. So I also spent a long time also there where the source of the Po River is. Something very interesting that happened during my research was that the activists that I was working with told me that the region had decided to suspend the ecological minimum, which leaves some amount of water for the rivers to not run dry, to have some life in the rivers. And I found this very interesting, this techno-managerial tool, but that was used in this case against, let's say, ecological needs. And parts of both acts of the installation are somehow related to that. The video installation shows this movement of the fish and that activists were doing in these hyperlocal moments of drought, and also the hydrocomputational infrastructure that is behind the monitoring and measurement and the governance of water bodies, and especially of these different levels of water. So the unboxing of all this hidden infrastructure. And the other part of the installation is a sort of mesocosm. I was inspired by a mesocosm that I saw in Ostana at the source of the Po River. But in here, mesocosm are used to study different river dynamics in the open. In here, I wanted to place it as a sort of hosting or staging different conversations between aquatic insect couples. There's 5 different languages of aquatic insects. They're very interesting. They live in this threshold of drought and of changing conditions, but also they are usually used as indicators. In here, I wanted to frame them as knowledge producers, and they're really interesting for that because they have also low public charisma. And that's why also the fishermen and activists that are working with other types of fish cannot really work with these species because they perceive that they will not get enough public attention as well. And I was thinking of framing them here, or these conversations, as more, let's say, sweet or cute, and maybe help imagine what these conversations between these aquatic insects are.